bring the first hearing of the Senate Appropriations Committee to order. I'd like to welcome our Vice Chair, Senator Bates, and the other members of the committee who are on their way here, I suspect. Thank you, Senator Hill, for being here on time. We have a small hearing today with only 6 bills on the file, one which is eligible for a due pass motion. I'd like to remind the audience and the members that testimony should be limited to the fiscal aspects of the bill. Please refrain from lengthy policy discussions in your comments, or you will be cut off. I expect members presenting bills to be prompt out of respect to the committee and other members. We will be taking bills up in file order, and authors may take up all the bills they have on the file. Sergeants, if you could continue to please call members. We need to establish a quorum. And who are we missing? Senator, and if we can call Senator Mitchell, please. Senator Mitchell and Hernandez, Anderson, and we have Senator Hill here. Perfect. We're going to continue as a subcommittee before we adopt the rules. And we'll have Senator Hill, since you're here on time. Please proceed, Senator Hill. And this is SB 47, which is item number 2 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Madam Vice Chair, let me start by reminding members that this bill was amended coming out of the Senate Environmental Quality Committee to remove the moratorium in the bill. The bill now allows schools and local governments to use fields and playgrounds made from waste tires if they choose. Local decision-making remains. All the bill requires is that they look at using non-waste tire alternatives. I'll continue working with the opposition on amendments to address concerns while the bill is on suspense. Regarding the fiscal aspects of the bill, the study is the main cost driver. It's important to note that funding from the study will come from a special fund, the Tire Recycling Management Fund, which has a surplus of $50 million. The amendments, while the bill is on suspense, I just wanted to be clear that I've met with some of the labor groups and I'm working on amendments to address their concerns that the requirement on schools and local governments don't delay the bidding and construction process. I'll also be working with OEHA to refine the study to address cost concerns. And I'll clarify that the freeze on state grants for waste tire fields and playgrounds is temporary during the study. And I could go into the opposition's arguments, but I won't, Mr. Chair. So I appreciate that, and we'll allow the witnesses in support.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Before we continue, we do have quorum. Let me first establish quorum for today's committee hearing. Secretary, please call the roll.
Laura?
Here.
Laura here. Bates? Here. Bates here. Bell? Bell here. Hill?
Here.
Hill here. Leyva? Mendoza? Nielsen?
And we're also going to take this opportunity to adopt the committee rules for the 2015-2016 session. Secretary, please call the roll.
Laura?
Aye.
Laura, aye. Bates? Aye. Bates, aye. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Leyva? Mendoza? Nielsen?
Thank you. We will proceed with the testimony. Witnesses in support. Please proceed.
My name is Lainey Fry. I'm from Petaluma, and I have stage 1 thyroid cancer. I had 8 of my lymph nodes removed and my entire thyroid removed, and I've been playing soccer since I was 7 years old, and I am a goalkeeper. I live right next to a turf synthetic field, and I've been playing on it since I was 7 years old, and that's where we practice 3 days a week. Not to mention the games that we play on the weekend, which are 90% of the time synthetic turf. I had radiation due to my thyroid cancer, and I just completed it. Each game or practice, I swallow probably at least half a teaspoon of turf, possibly more. And there's no family history of thyroid cancer in my family, so this was really unexpected. And I've had it at least probably since 8th grade, because it's one of the most slow-growing cancers. So since it's already spread to all of my lymph nodes almost, they expect it to have had it for 4 to 5 years. And hopefully by me being here will help this bill to get passed, because if crumb rubber does cause cancer, it can be prevented really easily, and I wouldn't wish this upon anyone to go through what I have.
Thank you for being here. Next witness.
Hi, I'm Susan Gerhard from San Francisco. I'm a soccer player and a soccer coach, as well as a soccer mom. I've had some experiences of my own I play, coach, or watch soccer on artificial turf fields basically every day. As a player this year, I had a chemical sensitivity developed to a specific field in San Francisco, swollen lymph nodes and sore throats that prevented me from finishing the season with my women's team. But the reason that I really want this study to be funded, and especially want to speak to this committee today, is I just finished a month of helping my son out, a player who, like Delaney, plays 12 to 25 hours a week on artificial turf fields. And he came down with a mysterious illness. He was in the hospital for 5 days and out of school for a month. There was no cause they could find for what he was going through that was bacterial virus related. I worried that it was chemical exposure from the thing that he engages in most frequently. And I would just hope to, if that is the case, I'd like to know what's causing this and prevent it for other people. Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Senators. My name is Greg Miller. I live in San Francisco. I've lived in California since I was 8 years old. I'd just like to express my support for this bill. I understand that the state has advocated using recycled tire waste for athletic fields and actively provides subsidies for it for a number of years. And so I think it's simply entirely appropriate that our state take reasonable measures to verify the safety of this product and to protect our young athletes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have now had 3 witnesses in support, so we want to make sure that the remaining witnesses keep it very, very brief.
Okay, my name is Catherine Howard. I'm a landscape architect and informal community organizer. All the groups I've talked to have unanimously said this is a no-brainer. You must, even if it costs money, you must spend the money. You must support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Dorothy Nichols. I'm from San Francisco, and I think in watching with my friends who have children who have played on the soccer and they're getting sick, that I think it's important to spend as much as you can to do a complete peer study of the health effects of this chrome rubber.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
GL Hastings, native San Franciscan. I played at Beach LA when I was at G&E Junior High School, Lincoln High Schools. I coached the soccer team in Millbrae, and I worked as a city gardener for over 14 years with SF Rec and Park Department, and worked even sometimes at Beach LA. This should not go forward as far as the bad fields. We should have real grass for real children, and this cancer stuff, what I'm hearing, is bad. Hope that you will make the right move and support SB 47. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any additional witnesses in support on this item?
Yeah.
Seeing none, witnesses in opposition, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greg Herner on behalf of the Rubber Manufacturers Association, BAS Recycling, and Field Turf, who's the largest installer of fields worldwide. We'll stick to the fiscal arguments on this. I think that, number one, we have a significant cost in this study, and I think that we need to do some consultation with OEHA and Cal Recycle regarding that study, and because the sunset that's in the fund for 2024, we're running about $11 million deficit a year right now, and we're going to put a lot of pressure on the fund. We also have a product here that's been subject to 50 studies and reports. So I think there needs to be some analysis looking at the existing studies and reports that have demonstrated that there's no increased health risk, and put a study in relation to what we already know and other potential products out there. This is a real cost to schools. Schools, I've talked to several of the organizations, they view this as still as a moratorium on these fields. Crumb rubber is a less expensive option, better performing option, and it lasts longer than the other alternatives. So there's going to be real cost to schools if this is not an option, in addition to the loss of grants, which could mean that poor schools don't have the opportunity to go to a better performing, longer lasting field. So I think that there's some significant cost to local governments and schools in this. It doesn't apply to any state facilities whatsoever, so there's a question about why that would be the case. And so I think that we need to do a considerable amount of work in regards to the study and limit it to the study going forward.
Thank you. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman and members, Bob Giroux on behalf of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. We have some 40 crafts within the IUPAT, some of which are the floor layers who are apprenticed workers that lay these fields. I would like to say that I'm going to introduce Mike West from District Council 16 in Northern California, and Chris Christofferson, who's the business manager from Local 16, who also sits on the California Apprenticeship Council. The turf fields, we believe that the bill currently as written in the analysis, your staff says that the AWIA could not conduct, they could only conduct 7 parts of the required parts of the study within the time frame allotted. We believe the bill is written in reverse, that we should probably do the study first before we start stopping projects. Now, while Senator Hill has grandfathered in existing projects, he is not grandfathered in or taken into consideration the fact that most cities, counties, park districts, and local governments are in their initial budgeting process for 2016 and 2017. So those projects, while they have not been let or bids have not been sent out for consideration by contractors, they're in the middle of the process, so they're in the food chain. And at a minimum, we'd like to see the study done before we start banning this type of material.
Thank you. We'll take that as the second witness. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Mike West. I work for District Council 16 Painters and Allied Trades. We have 1,200, in round numbers, 1,200 floor covering installers and over 300 apprentices, some of which specialize in this work. So the companies that do this work, their geographical territory could be the whole Western United States. Just the fact that this is being talked about has curtailed any bidding on any projects. So these good middle-class jobs are going to be leaving California and going into the neighboring states. So my question is, what about the children of these workers whose families are now going to be transplanted out of the area if they want to still remain working for the same contractor? On top of that, one other problem that we have with the bill is any discussion or anything that's not outlined in the bid specs ahead of time creates an atmosphere where a bad contractor could come in and be taking the guy's prevailing wage and not paying them properly. So all the good legislation that's come out and the governor signed in the past year, it's going to create extra work for those public works compliance monitoring units and our guys to make sure that these wages are getting paid properly, as well as our good jobs being sent out of the state of California. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Additional witnesses, if you can be brief. Go ahead.
My name is Chris Christofferson. I saw some eyebrows raised there for those of you that are old enough. But I'm the business manager of District Council 16, representing almost 10,000 highly skilled, highly trained workers. I also am a governor-appointed commissioner on the California Apprenticeship Council, and within that is set the standards for various crafts. One of the crafts is the field turf installer. We've been doing it for quite a long time now. One of my concerns for my members is also health and safety. A component of my apprenticeship school focuses on that, a major component of that. So we understand it. Even though I oppose the bill, I look forward to working with you on the study.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in opposition.
Mr. Chair, committee members, my name's Terry Lavelle. I represent CRM Company of Compton. They're the largest manufacturer of tire rubber, Indocrum rubber in the western states. We oppose this bill. We are strongly supportive of the study, but we oppose this bill because we think it's going to have a dire effect on the ability of schools, local governments to install this kind of surfacing. Over the past 20 years, Cal Recycle, or its predecessor, the Waste Management Board, has provided up to $45 million for local governments and schools particularly in low-income districts, for this kind of thing. Not just synthetic turf, but playground surface as well. Secondly, we're very concerned of how this bill will affect the industry. There's dozens of tire processors in the state of California employing hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. They are very dependent on this particular thing. They can only do one thing, and that is break down tires into crumb rubber. We're very concerned about that aspect. And then finally, we want to remind you that over the last 20 years, the Waste Management Board and the industry has watched very closely the studies that have come forth, the scientific studies worldwide. Not a single one of them has indicated a link between illness and crumb rubber. Not a single one. We strongly urge you to drop that part of the bill, please.
Thank you. Next witness.
Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. I'll be brief because the comments have largely been made. We actually have an opposed unless amended position. We are strongly supportive of a study, as others have mentioned. If nothing else, we need to restore the public's confidence in this material. That confidence has been shaken, and we need that research to help back that up. But the current prohibitions in the bill and limitations on the use of the material are definitely premature given the existing state of research. Thank you.
Thank you.